Hi Bala.
Hi, sir.
So what is the demo today?
So today we are going to do few of the things. First is we'll be doing a VPC peering within different regions in AWS within the same account in AWS. One will be in a private VPC and another will be a public VPC. And within private VPC, we'll be deploying an RDS instance. And within public VPC, we'll be deploying an EC2 instance and we'll be establishing a connection between these two. And with this in the EC2 instance, basically it's a, Linux based instance. In that we'll be deploying a WordPress module and we'll make sure that WordPress website is accessible via public IP address. So that is the um, today's demo which I'm giving. So here is the basic architecture which we are looking into. So if we look into the components overview, or else like different components which we have, so we do have basically two VPCs as said. One is in I'm taking one in US West one, uh, that is a public VPC, and Asian, that is a private VPC, APAC region, that is in Singapore, that is in private VPC. So, and within private VPC, I'll be having two subnets, and within public VPC, I'll be having one subnet. And this public VPC will be connected to the public route via internet gateway, and private VPC will be connected to peering connection and route tables, and we'll be creating few security groups to allow different ports via different networks. So this is a basic architecture which you are looking in. And if you take an overview, so we have let's say if we have any website or else like web application website basically on premise, then it becomes a bit difficult to manage. So if we are taking it into the cloud, so that will be a bit easy when compared to networking or other stuff. So we'll be doing that demo today. So coming to the task which to be performed, so first task, as said, will be a VPC creation. So let me log into the VPC, Amazon console, and let me show you like different VPCs which I'm creating. So first will be like public VPC. Before going to console, let me show you like my network components which I'll be deploying. So these are all in this US West 1 region. I'll be deploying a public VPC as said with this CIDR range. Uh, and this will be my public subnet range. And then this is a AP Southeast one, that basically a Singapore region. I'll be deploying a private VPC with this CIDR range. And these are all the two private subnets which I'll be deploying. So let's log into the console and let me create a VPC. So here is my console login. So as said, I'll be deploying a VPCs in North California region, that is basically US West, US West one. I'm creating a VPC. So here is the CIDR range. I don't want any as of now. I'm not going with any of the default options. I'm creating a VPC. So the VPC creation in public VPC is done. Then I'm going to create a public subnet. This is the public subnet, public VPC I have selected. Subnet name is 10.0.0.0/28. This is the subnet. Sorry. Blank subnet. Okay. One. This is CIDR block and this is the CIDR range, subnet CIDR range, and I'm creating. Yep. Now going to route tables. Before creating a route table, we need to create an internet gateway. So if you go to the architectural diagram, because this is we have created a VPC and we have created a subnet. So we'll be assigning an internet gateway to this VPC. So go here. create an internet gateway. New hyphen internet hyphen gateway. Create an internet gateway. So to attach this internet gateway to the VPC, we click on options, attach. So I have a VPC here. I have in the drop down menu, I have selected a VPC and attached to internet gateway, and it's done. Now I will be going to route table. I'm creating one route table. It's a public hyphen route. For which VPC? That is a public VPC. Create. Uh, After that, I'll be assigning this subnet associations. Yeah. Edit, edit subnet associations. Just click save associations. Now I need to edit the routes basically. So I'm adding another route 0.0.0.0 from internet gateway because the route propagation should be happening via internet gateway. So I'm giving the internet gateway and save changes. So there is other component as well as mentioned earlier, that is the subnet groups. So we'll be like creating these subnet groups in the later point of time as per our requirement. So let's go to other region, that is a Singapore region where we'll be deploying private VPC. Now let's go to VPC, create VPC, private hyphen VPC. So now I'm going to select my side range. That's it. Create VPC. Now I'll be deploying one subnets in for this. So this is my first cider, and I'm adding other subnet as well. Yeah. Now I'll be creating the subnets. Yeah. So our subnet creation is done. So now the next task is to peer between the subnet connections. I mean, two VPCs. As said, here we'll be establishing a peering connection between public VPC and private VPC. So in order to like go go to peering connections, create a peering connection. I'm giving my name as public to private. Requester VPC ID will be the private VPC, and the so here as said in earlier, it's in the same account but in the different region. So I'll be selecting different region. It's in North California. So I don't have my VPC ID, so let me duplicate this. VPCs, I need this VPC ID. Yeah. create a peering connection. Yeah. So now we need to go to that with this VPC, and we need to accept the peering connection. Pending acceptance. So we can see here status as pending acceptance. So let's come here, peering connections. Yeah. So if we see here, we have a pending acceptance button, accept request. Accept. Now if we see here, status is active. So now let's create a route table. Select VPC, private VPC, create a private routes. So we'll be editing the subnet associations. All I need to associate. Yeah. Now I'm creating the routes. So add route. So here the traffic coming via this VPC should be allowed to this route. So here my IDs will my IP cider range will be 10.0.0.0/24, which is coming via peering request, peering connection to should be routed to here. Now let's see. So let's verify other stuff. So we have created as subnets here in private subnets, VPCs, route tables, and other. Now we'll be going ahead and creating a subnet security groups. So basically these security groups acts as a level 1 firewall basically, so we can allow or deny the connections here. So because this is a private security group, so we'll be allowing only specific connections. So here, so security group name is like we need to give the basic details, private security group. So VPC will be private VPC. I'm adding the rule MySQL. Because I'll tell you, because we'll be deploying a MySQL as instance here, so we'll be like deploying only we need that particular range. So here we'll be accepting the inbound traffic should be allowed only via 10.0.0.0, that is other VPC, and we'll be creating the security group. Yeah. Now let's go to North California. Here we'll be creating another security groups. This is a public and security hyphen group. VPC will be like public VPC and inbound rules. So first of all, MySQL, the IP address will be like public subnet. Now let's create another security rule to access SSH, because we'll be deploying an SSH machine here, so we'll be accessing it. So I'll be leaving it to the public. So anywhere, because I don't like, because it's okay to for me, because I'm not deploying any VPN connection, so I'll be leaving it to the internet. And other is HTTPS connection, because this is a browser based call for HTTP connection. That is also I'm leaving it to the internet. And I'm creating a subnet group. So this is the VPC architecture we're talking about. So now let's start deploying the instances. So first, let's deploy the RDS instance, because it takes time for deployment. So I'll be deploying an RDS instance here. So prior deploying the RDS, we need to deploy subnet groups. I'm creating a subnet group. It's the same game here. Because this is on the different, it was deployed in the same like same availability zone, we don't need any subnet groups. So now I'm creating a RDS instance. We're deploying an MySQL Aurora compatible. So Aurora standard include previous generation with the burstable class. So I don't need like, no, here we need to like select the proper VPC, private VPC. I don't have any subnet group. No. And a security group, I have an existing security groups, so I'll be using that, and I'll be leaving the default security group. That's it. And I'm not enabling any enhanced monitoring. Created database. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Here I'm not creating any replica. Let me see. Okay, it's giving in asking me to add in other subnets as well, so let's edit that. or else like we'll be recreating those two subnets and let me recreate these two subnets. Yeah, now I'm attaching this both subnets. Yeah, so now let's go to other things. Now let's start deploying the resource RDS. We need to create a subnet group because we need to deploy this RDS in availability zones. That's the reason. Now let's start deploying the databases. Dev test. I don't need a production one. Let me see if we have any other things. Now, private VPC I'm deploying. Now it started deploying. Now let me go to North California region and deploy other stuff. Let's start deploying EC2 machine as well. Launch instance. So here, here we have created like VPC pairing, and we have enabled the public peering relationship between VPCs, and we have created the route tables, and we have created the security groups. Now we have launched the DB instances, and we have launched the security groups and established. Now we'll be like established almost we're launching the EC2 instance as well. So once done, we'll be doing other stuff, installation of WordPress, PHP modules, and other stuff. So let's go to EC2 instance. It's a web server basically. I will be going with the Red Hat flavor, which has a free tier eligible T2.micro. No, I'll be editing this stuff. VPC is not a default public VPC. So I have one website, and as I said, I need a public IP address, and I'll be selecting the existing security groups. That is public security groups. Now I'll be launching an instance. Before that, to access this, we need a key pair. So I'll be creating a key pair as well. Key pair ppk file because I'll be accessing via PuTTY. Yeah, launch instance. So let me see parallelly if RDS is deployed. Then we'll be logging into public instances and yep, still the RDS is created. Yep. So our web server is up and running and still the status is installation. But let's see if we can connect to our EC2 machine. SSH on the authentication credentials, and I'll be giving my and login session is the host name is an IP address. Yeah, this is an IP address. Correct. Accept. Yep. So the server is running. Yeah. So our web server is up and running. So prior creating, so let's update our server. It's getting updated. So meanwhile, it's getting updated. Let me show you few. We need to run few commands to install all these modules. So we have done almost all this stuff. So I'm skipping this. So currently I'm doing this stuff. So I have connected to EC2 instance by PuTTY. And first of all, installing all this, we need to install we need to update the server. So I'm installing my update, and I'll be installing the MySQL module and other stuff. So let's see if everything is updated. Okay. Now let's try to install a install MySQL. MySQL. Yes. Now let's see if the database is up and running, then we'll be logging connecting to that database. Yeah. So database is up and running. Then this is the endpoint we need. So we'll be running this command to make sure like we'll be able to connect to the database. It's MySQL hyphen host name is the RDS host name. Hyphen 3306 username admin hyphen password is. Now let's connect. Let's see. Looks like it's not getting connected. Let's try to analyze this using a VPC connections. In a private routes. Plus 24 it should be. Now let's try to connect. Yes, it got connected. So let's try to execute the commands which I have shown. So right now we are into the MySQL database. So as mentioned, we'll be executing these commands um, as said. So we have installed the MySQL, we have logged on to the database. So right now we'll be listing out the databases and we'll be creating a WordPress database and we'll be creating privileges and users and other stuff. Now let's start with the database creation. So show space data bases. So, so we have currently four databases. One is MySQL, performance schema, sys, and information schema. So we'll be creating a database name called WordPress. Create. So the command will be create databases database. That name is WordPress. It's got executed. Now we'll be creating a user called WordPress WP user. That is now create. The username is WP user. So this is the syntax I'm giving. 24 by database exist. Yeah. Now let's see user. Santal. Password. Now let's grant all the privileges. On Wordpress database. User Santal. Plus so let's relog in and see what's happening. So databases. I'm sorry. So the WordPress database is created. Now let's grant all the privileges again and see. That's what. Grant all VI. So user at the rate. Flush. Now I'm flushing the privileges. Use MySQL. So tables. Select start from user. So that's for use WordPress. So tables. Now let's start installing the module. So yum install hyphen UA drop hyphen I strategy. Yes. So systemctl. Enable HTTPD. Yes. Now let's see the what is the status. So it's active and running. We can see here the status is active and running. install. So let's install the PHP module. Enough install.
Bala, you can create one blog and show.
Yes, sir. I'm installing this WordPress website, sir.
Okay, okay. After that,
I
you create
mean,
some blogs and show that one, that blogs, what you have created.
yeah, yes, sir. So, so here is the command I'll be using to install PHP. So module is installed. We have, let's find the PHP version. We got it. So we have a configuration file for PHP as well. So let's head on to temporary folder to install WordPress. Now I'm installing the WordPress module in this temporary file. Stop. Duplicate. NY. Now let's try to install. Yeah. Now I'm installing an unzip software. So we have, let's head into WordPress folder. Now let's verify the Apache directory. L. Now we are modifying the permissions. We are restarting the service. Now let's try to access the web server. This is my public IP. Mm, hello. Uh, hello, sir.
Yes, Bala.
Sir, looks like the database is down, sir.
RDS.
Hard disk is down because 503 unavailable. Hard disk is down, I guess so.
Is it from AWS or?
AWS
Uh,
side, sir.
okay, you have created the site, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it site appearing with URL?
I mean, when I was trying to browse with IP address, it's reaching the service, but it says 503 service unavailable, sir.
Okay, that is fine. Then you have done the setup with
Yep,
this one
yep,
and created the block site.
yep,
Architecture is available to use it,
yep.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let us stop recording.
Uh,